Daisy's toys. Justin came over about half an hour later. He gave me a big hug and said, "Sorry, Aki." We all sat down in the living room, not saying anything. For some reason, Via and I had taken all of Daisy's toys from around the house and put them in a little pile on the coffee table, and now we just stared at the pile. "She really is the greatest dog in the world," said Via. "I know," said Justin, rubbing Via's back. "She just started whimpering like all of a sudden, I said. Via nodded. "Like 2 seconds after you left the table," she said. "Mom was going to go after you, but Daisy just started like whimpering." "Like how?" I said. Just whimpering, I don't know," said Via. "Like howling?" I asked. "Augie, like whimpering," she answered impatiently. She just started moaning like something was really hurting her. And she was panting like crazy, and then she just kind of plopped down, and Mom went over and tried to pick her up and whatever, and she was obviously hurting. She bit Mom. "What?" I said. "When Mom tried to touch her stomach, Daisy bit her hand," Via explained. "Daisy never bites anybody," I answered. "Well, she wasn't herself," said Justin. "She was obviously in pain." "Daddy was right," said Via. We shouldn't have let her get this bad." "What do you mean?" I said. "He knew that she was sick?" "Augie, Mom's taken her to the vet like 3 times in the last 2 months. She's been throwing up left and right. Haven't you noticed?" "But I didn't know she was sick." And Via didn't say anything. She just put her arm around my shoulders and pulled me closer to her, and I started to cry again. "I'm sorry, Augie," she said softly. "I'm really sorry about everything, okay? You forgive me? You know how much I love you, right?" I nodded. Somehow that fight didn't matter much now. "Was Mom bleeding?" I asked. "It was just a nip," said Via. "Right there." She pointed to the bottom of her thumb and she showed me exactly where Daisy had bit Mom. "Did it hurt her?" "Mommy's okay, Augie. She's fine." Mom and Dad came home 2 hours later. We knew the second that they opened the door that Daisy wasn't with them, that Daisy was gone. We all sat down in the living room around the pile of Daisy's toys. Dad told us what happened at the animal hospital, how the vet took Daisy for some x-rays and blood tests and then came back, and then she had a huge mass in her stomach. She was having trouble breathing. Mom and Dad didn't want her to suffer, so Daddy picked her up in his arms like he always liked to do, with her legs straight up in the air, and he and Mom kissed her goodbye over and over and whispered to her while the vet put a needle into her leg. And then after about a minute, she died in Daddy's arms. It was so peaceful, Daddy said. She wasn't in any pain at all, like she was just going to sleep. A couple of times while he talked, Daddy's voice got trembly and he cleared his throat. I've never seen Dad cry before, but I saw him cry tonight. I had gone into Mom and Dad's bedroom looking for Mom to put me to bed, but saw Dad sitting on the edge of the bed, taking off his socks. His back was to the door, so he didn't know I was there. At first I thought he was laughing because his shoulders were shaking, but then he put his palms on his eyes and I realized he was crying. It was the quietest crying I've ever heard, like a whisper. I was going to go over to him, but then I thought maybe he was whisper crying because he didn't want me or anyone else to hear him. So I walked out and went to Via's room, and I saw Mom lying next to Via on the bed, and Mom was whispering to Via, who was crying. So I went to my bed and put on my pajamas without anyone telling me to, and put the nightlight on and turned the light off and crawled into the little mountain of stuffed animals I left on my bed earlier. It felt like all that had happened a million years ago. I took my hearing aids off and put them on the night table and pulled the covers up to my ears and imagined Daisy snuggling with me, her big wet tongue licking my face all over like it was her favorite face in the world. And that's how I fell asleep. Heaven. I woke up later on and it was still dark. I got out of bed and walked into Mom and Dad's bedroom. "Mommy," I whispered. It was completely dark, so I couldn't see her open. I couldn't see her open her eyes. "Mommy?" "You okay, honey?" she said groggily. "Can I sleep with you?" Mom scooted over towards Daddy's side of the bed, and I snuggled up next to her, and she kissed my hair. "Is your hand okay?" I said. "Via told me Daisy bit you." "It was only a nip," she whispered in my ear. "Mommy," I started crying. "I'm sorry about what I said." "Shh, there's nothing to be sorry about," she said so quietly I could barely hear her. She was rubbing the side of her face against my face. "Is Via ashamed of me?" I said. "No, honey, no. You know she's not. She's just adjusting to a new school. And it's not easy." I know you know. I'm sorry I called you a liar. Go to sleep, sweet boy. I love you very much." "I love you so much too, Mommy. Good night, honey," she said softly. "Mommy, is Daisy with Grands now?" "I think so." "Are they in heaven?" "Yes." "Do people look the same when they get to heaven?" "Well, I don't know. I think so." "Then how do people recognize each other?" "I don't know, sweetie." She sounded tired. "They just feel it. You don't need your eyes to love, right? You feel it inside you. And that's how it is in heaven. It's just love. And no one forgets who they love." And she kissed me again. "Now go to sleep, honey. It's late and I'm so tired." But I couldn't go to sleep, even after I knew she had fallen asleep. I could hear Daddy sleeping too, and I imagined I could hear Via sleeping down in the hallway in her room. And I wondered if Daisy was sleeping in heaven right then. And if she was sleeping, was she dreaming about me? And I wonder how it would feel to be in heaven someday and not have my face matter anymore, just like it never ever mattered to Daisy. Well, guys, I just want to take a little pause right there and just say, what's some amazing thoughts here, and some real thoughts happen here, and especially if you've ever lost a pet or a loved one close in your family, or just anyone that you knew, an animal or person even. They leave a mark of love in your heart, and you'll always remember them. And it's nice to imagine them in heaven, and it just having a great time and no pain. So I don't know if you've ever lost someone before, but Augie here can definitely relate to it. Understudy. Via brought home 3 tickets to her school play a few days after Daisy died. We never mentioned the fight we had over dinner again. On the night of the play, right before she and Justin were leaving to get to their school early, she gave me a big hug and told me she loved me and she was proud to be my sister. This was the first time in Via's new school. It was much bigger than her old school and 1,000 times bigger than my school. More hallways, more room for people. The only really bad thing about my bionic robot ear hearing aids was the fact that I couldn't wear a baseball cap anymore. In situations like these, baseball caps come in really handy. Sometimes I wish I could still get away with wearing that old astronaut helmet that I used to wear when I was little. Believe it or not, people would think seeing a kid in an astronaut helmet was a lot less weird than seeing my face. Anyway, I kept my head down as I walked right behind Mom through the long, bright hallways. We followed the crowd to the auditorium, where students handed out programs at the front entrance. We found seats in the 5th row, close to the middle. As soon as we sat down, Mom started looking inside her pocketbook. "I can't believe I forgot my glasses," she said. Dad shook his head. Mom was always forgetting her glasses or her keys or something or other. She is flaky that way. "You want to move closer?" said Dad. Mom squinted at the stage. "No, I can see okay." "Speak now or forever hold your peace," said Dad. "I'm fine," answered Mom. "Well, look, there's Justin," I said to Dad, pointing out Justin's picture in the program. "Well, that's a nice picture of him," he answered, nodding. "How come there's no picture of Via?" I said. "Well, she's an understudy," said Mom. "But look, here's her name." "And why do they call her an understudy?" I asked. "Wow, look at Miranda's picture," said Mom to Dad. "I don't think I would have recognized her." "Why do they call it understudy?" I repeated. "Oh, it's what they call someone who replaces an actor if he can't perform for some reason," answered Mom. "Did you hear Martin's getting remarried?" Dad said to Mom. "Are you kidding me?" Mom answered like she was surprised. Who's Martin? I asked. Miranda's father, Mom answered, and then to Dad. Who told you? I ran into Miranda's mother in the subway. She's not happy about it. He has a new baby on the way and everything. Wow, said Mom, shaking her head. What are you guys talking about? Nothing, answered Dad. But why do they call it Understudy? I said. I don't know, Augie Doggy. Dad answered, maybe because the actors kind of study under the main actors or something. I really don't know. I was going to say something else, but then the lights went down. The audience got very quiet very quickly. Daddy, can you please not call me Augie Doggy anymore? I whispered in Dad's ear. Dad smiled and nodded and gave me a thumbs up. Guess he's getting too old for that, huh? The play started. The curtain opened. The stage was completely empty except for Justin, who was sitting on an old rickety chair turning his fiddle. He was wearing an old-fashioned type of suit and a straw hat. This play is called Our Town, he said to the audience. It is written by Thornton Wilder, produced and directed by Philip Davenport. The name of the town is Grover's Corners, New Hampshire, just across the Massachusetts line. Latitude 42 degrees, 40 minutes. Longitude 70 degrees, 37 minutes. The first act shows a day in our town. The day is May 7th, 1901. The time is just before dawn. I knew right then and there that I was going to like the play. It wasn't like the other school plays I've been to, like The Wizard of Oz or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. No, this was grown-up seeming, and I felt smart sitting there watch it. A little later in the play, a character named Mrs. Webb calls out for her daughter, Emily, and I knew from the program that that was the part Miranda was playing, so I leaned forward to get a better look at her. Well, that's Miranda, Mom whispered to me, squinting at the stage when Emily walked out. She looks so different. It's not Miranda, I whispered. Who do you guys think it might be? It's Via! Oh my gosh, said Mom, lurching forward in her seat. Shh, said Dad. It's Via, Mom whispered to him. I know, whispered Dad, smiling. Shh. The ending. The play was so amazing. I don't want to give away the ending, but it's the kind of ending that makes people in an audience teary. Mom totally lost it when Via, as Emily, said, Goodbye, goodbye, world, goodbye, Grover's Corners, Mama and Papa. Goodbye to clocks ticking and Mom's sunflowers, and food and coffee, and new iron dresses and hot baths, and sleeping and waking up. Oh, Earth, you're too wonderful for anybody to realize you. Via was actually crying while she was saying this, like real tears. I could see them rolling down her cheeks. It was totally awesome. After the curtain closed, everyone in the audience started clapping, and then the actors came out one by one. Via and Justin were the last ones out, and when they appeared, the whole audience rose to their feet. Bravo! I heard Dad yelling through his hands. Why is everyone getting up? I said. It's a standing ovation, said Mom, getting up. So I got up and clapped and clapped, and I clapped until my hands hurt. For a second, I imagined how cool it would be to be Via and Justin right then, having all these people standing up and cheering for them. I think there should be a rule that everyone in the world should get a standing ovation at least once in their lives. Finally, after I don't know how many minutes, the line of actors on stage stepped back and the curtains closed in front of them. The clapping stopped and the lights went up and the audience started getting up to leave.